So in the spring and summer of 2020, as I was waking up to the hypocrisy of our representatives, like Pelosi and Lightfoot getting their hair done, or Gavin Newsom at the French Laundry, or Whitmer's husband trying to use his boat, while we the plebes or the serfs were on lockdown in our homes. And of course, I can only speak to my own personal experience in Los Angeles because other parts of the country and the world handled COVID very differently. In Los Angeles, going to the beach, which we now know is one of the healthiest places you could go, was at the time illegal. Going to the gym was illegal. Going to temple and church was illegal. Socializing or congregating in groups essentially became illegal. It's almost as though the government wanted to make certain we wouldn't meet in groups and share information. And with the laws becoming more and more authoritative, immoral, and unethical, or often just outright stupid, it became our right, our inalienable right, our duty to peacefully and respectfully disobey. This put me personally in a very difficult situation. At the time, I was spending hundreds, if not 1,000+ hours every year volunteering as a judge pro tem, which essentially is an attorney who gets to volunteer as a judge and help out the judicial system. I'd also spent years volunteering as a prosecutor with the city attorney's office. The biggest dilemma for us was that my wife and I were raising 2 preteen young women to respect the rule of law and our institutions, to which I personally had pledged my life and honor to uphold. I bleed red, white, and blue. I believed in the rule of law to a fault. I had and have the utmost respect for law enforcement and the law. But closing churches, gyms, schools, and making it illegal to congregate? None of this made any sense to me. Not in America. Again, it depended on where you were in the world or even the country. But in Los Angeles County, it became illegal for more than 6 people, more than 8 people, more than 10 people. They kept changing the number, but congregating in groups just outside your immediate family became illegal. In a different set of videos, I will discuss at greater length my personal conflict with the law from the perspective of a bench officer, especially since I felt that the rule of law in Los Angeles was deteriorating greatly. But I'm not even certain at this time how much of those I can release, so we'll see. Regardless, my wife and I were now forced to explain to 2 little, extremely well-behaved young women, 10 and 8 years old at the time, why we as a family were now at odds with the law. As an example, and I'm not mentioning any names or companies because I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but we went to a gym that secretly allowed my daughters and I to exercise. The city was now openly targeting people that were defiant by turning off their water and power. So the gym that my daughters and I would sneak into shuttered the front of their place and we had to sneak in through the back. It was crazy. But the gym that was adjacent to the one that we went to, in open defiance to the mayor and the governor, actually just tried to operate in broad daylight. The city turned off their water and power. We were engaged in outlaw-like behavior like the folks from the 1920s who went to speakeasies. We as a family would sneak out into the canyons and have picnics despite being told to stay home on lockdown. We lost a lot of friends who were terrified to leave their homes and saw us as rebellious and defiant, while at the same time we made new friends. And with this new group of friends, we would meet at our respective homes on Friday nights, gathering 3 to 6 families at a time in secret, knowing that at any moment we can get in trouble for just congregating. This was not the America I grew up in. This was insane. It was very strange and a little surreal. On so many occasions, I explained to my daughters that we were teetering on anarchy. We are a nation of laws. Civility only functions when the vast majority of us respect and obey the laws. You don't want the citizenry to pick and choose what laws are valid. To use an overly simplistic example, if you decided to ignore a red light because you thought it was placed at a stupid intersection, well, there's a high probability that someone's going to die when you go barreling through that red light. Our collective agreement as to the validity of our laws are what guides the peace. In the spring and summer of 2020 in the county of Los Angeles, my family and our newest and dearest friends were at odds with the laws of our home city and state, which was heartbreaking because geographically speaking, we all loved our home. It was our elected representatives that were the problem. We were residing in a major city in the United States of America, and it became evident that we could no longer live there, which was heartbreaking because geographically speaking, we loved Los Angeles. We loved where we lived. It was our home. As the fall approached, we knew the schools weren't going to reopen, and there was a growing discussion about forced vaccinations, even though they weren't available yet, We knew they were coming. Whether or not we ultimately wanted to get vaccinated, that would have been a personal choice, and we would cross that bridge when we came to it. But what we knew was that we didn't want to be forced or coerced. But based on the authoritative government we were seeing, the massive government overreach, we saw the writing on the wall. Throughout that spring and summer going into the fall, there were riots and looting across Los Angeles, and it was our otherwise peaceful and healthy behavior that became criminal. We were living in an upside-down, bizarro, dystopian reality. During the summer of 2020, it became obvious to my family and to everyone in our small little group that there was no way that we could remain safely in California. The world was on fire, falling into chaos. And the only question was, where do we go? We will continue the story next time. Like, join, comment, and share, share, share. God bless America, God bless this podcast, and God bless you. Stay frosty, my friends.